The arrival of a meteor made by Mang, the master of a primitive planet, with the task of transforming it into a highly civilized planet like Earth. Keywords of the novel. Interstellar Reclamation. I have a pristine planet without pop-ups. Interstellar Reclamation. I have a pristine planet. Download the complete text. Interstellar Reclamation. I have a pristine planet. Latest chapters to read. Chapter 1. I became the ball owner. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. I became the ball owner at midnight. Bai Mang was still playing games in front of the computer. He is a single-player game grandma, although he only has a few thousand fans and can earn a cigarette money in a month, he still does it very seriously, basically maintaining updates every 2 days. At this moment, he is reminiscing to his fans about an old game, Dark Souls 3, which was released many years ago. He is playing the bracelet of the dominant player, Warner. Just as his last sword shattered Warner's third bracelet and Warner disappeared, Bai Mang suddenly felt a violent vibration under his feet. The vibration was very intense, and the mineral water bottles on the table were all swayed and knocked over. If it weren't for his sharp eyes, he would have quickly helped them. His second-hand computer, which he didn't spend much money on, is likely to have been cleaned. Looking up at the ceiling, I noticed that the chandeliers were all swaying. There's an earthquake. Bai Mang instinctively had this idea, and the next second he ran out of the house like the wind. Grandpa felt unwell in the afternoon, and both parents went to visit their hometown in the countryside and didn't come back at night. Bai Mang came back from his grandfather's house this morning, and he was the only one at home. Bai Mang ran outside and looked around, as if nothing had happened. Why did it move when nothing happened? Bai Mang turned from the front yard to the backyard with a flashlight, and finally saw a deep pit in the yard behind the house. This pit has a diameter of nearly 2 meters and a depth of nearly 1 meter. Why is there a deep pit here? There is a pigeon egg-sized stone shining brightly under the flashlight in the pit, and there is nothing else besides this stone. Is this deep pit smashed by this small stone? Can such a small stone create such a big pit? Without much thought, Bai Mang jumped into the pit and picked up the small stone. If he knew it was a shooting star, he would never dare to reach out and take it. A few minutes ago, a meteor fell from the sky and landed in the backyard of Bai Mang's house. A meteorite the size of a pigeon egg alone smashed into such a large crater. Unexpectedly, this stone was still hot to the touch. With a grip, Bai Mang felt a scorching heat running through his palm, like an electric current instantly spreading throughout his body. Bai Mang was startled and instinctively threw away the stone in his hand. After the stone fell to the ground, it turned into an ordinary stone, devoid of any light. Just as Bai Mang looked bewildered, a voice similar to artificial synthesis suddenly rang out in his mind. Name: Bai Mang, gender: male, age: 23, identity: farmer, identity recognition completed, planet reclamation system is currently being bound, system. As a game enthusiast, the system is not unfamiliar at all. But that's just something that exists in the game, something that cannot exist in real life. But what's going on right now? Does this mean he has a system? This magical thing happened to him, which surprised him and made him start to get excited. Is it a system of turning stones into gold or an unpredictable system? Alternatively, it could be a system of transforming gods into immortals, or even worse, it would require a perspectivized system. What is the use of a perspective system? He. Take a seat on the street in summer, you know. The planet system has been successfully bound. Congratulations on obtaining a planet. You are now the ball master of the planet Landmang. What kind of thing? Get a planet. What is the owner of this ball? As the owner of a new life planet, your beginner mission is to visit and inspect your planet in person. Completing the beginner mission comes with a big gift package, okay. Now let's set off for your planet. Hello. I haven't figured out what's going on yet. Before Bai Mang could finish his words, his figure suddenly disappeared from the original position when his eyes lit up. In the starry sky far away from the solar system, there is also a blue planet. This is a new planet with a formation age of 3 billion years. Due to its short formation time, although there are oceans and rivers on the planet, it still appears very barren, with Gobi Desert everywhere. The name of this planet is Lan Mangxing. Lan Mangxing belongs to the Yin-Yang galaxy because this galaxy has two stars, one Yin and one Yang. This is a galaxy centered around two entangled and rapidly moving stars. Lan Mangxing is the fifth satellite of the Yin-Yang galaxy. Yangxing emits light and heat to form the daytime on Lan Mangxing. However, the Yin star itself does not emit light, and when it orbits between the Yang star and the Lan Mang star, it forms a black sky on the Lan Mang star. On a grassland of Lan Mangxing, a ray of light flashed on a small hill, and Bai Mang appeared here with a bewildered expression. After a few minutes of adaptation, Bai Mang began to look at the world in front of him. He really arrived on a planet, but it didn't seem unfamiliar. The sky is blue and the sunshine is bright. In front of me is an endless desert. There is a large river about 200 meters ahead, and on the other side of the river is a desert. In the distance, there are towering peaks that rise into the clouds. If compared to the Earth here, there doesn't seem to be much difference, it's just that there's no visible human habitation, but it's particularly barren. The mountains and the earth are almost bare, and only a few sparse plants can be seen on the ground. If it weren't for that dam system nagging, Bai Mang would have thought he had reached the uninhabited Gobi region in the northwest. This dam system, did you bring me here with my consent? A light flew out from Bai Mang's head and transformed into something in front of him, with a body about the size of a bee, but a round, chubby head the size of a $1 silver coin. Don't say it, it's quite cute. This cargo can actually hang in the air. Welcome to Lan Mang Star, you are the owner of this planet from now on. Bai Mang was startled. He had never seen such an animal before. Who are you? Why did you fly out of my head? Don't be nervous. I am the spirit of the blue star. I have searched everywhere in the universe for suitable planets, walked through countless planets, and finally found your Earth. I want to use Earth as a template, and I also want to transform the blue star into the shape of your Earth, with flowers, plants, trees, animals, and humans. So why did you come to me? This may be fate. Now that you have completed the beginner task, you can now receive the beginner's gift pack, so be it. A interface appeared in front of Bai Mang, with a messy red gift package on it. Now let's open the gift pack. When the gift package is opened, the first thing that flies out is a certificate. Congratulations on obtaining the Lan Mang Planet Master certification. With this certificate, you will become the eternal Lan Mang Planet Master and the Ball Master. In the future, you will have the ability to control this planet. This is a reward that doesn't have much use for eggs. The ability to control planets. And it's still in the future. What does he want to control this planet for? The lifespan of a planet is calculated in billions of years, and its lifespan is only a few decades. In the future, it may have turned into soil. So, this player has no meaning to him. The second newbie task reward is the Space Bag Ring, which is a storage device that exists in virtual space. It ignores time, space, and environmental changes, bringing you countless conveniences when carried around. Its area is 1 square, and it can carry a weight of 200 pounds. This thing is not unfamiliar to Bai Mang either. Which character in the game doesn't have an unreasonable backpack or something on them? This seems to have some value, just like carrying an invisible bag on your body, but the capacity of this area is too small. Of course, the bigger the thing, the better. Even if I don't need it, I have to have it. I said, who is that? You've been babbling for a long time, and I don't know your name yet. How do I call you? Just call me Little Ball. The brain bag of this product is really like a small ball. Small ball. This backpack ring is too small, isn't it a bit larger? It's a bit small in one square area. This ring can be upgraded. The more things you can do for this planet, the more contribution it will give you. These contribution points can be used to upgrade the system, and of course, you can also upgrade the luggage ring. The higher your level, the greater your abilities will be, and the abilities you obtain can also be used on Earth. Can you reveal it first? Now let's take a look at the last reward in the big gift package. Congratulations on gaining the ability to distinguish plants. Bai Mang watched helplessly as a white light flew to his forehead and entered his mind. Plant discrimination ability. This is useless. I'm not a botanist, what's the use of my ability to distinguish plants? Besides, there are only a few plants on this Lan Mang star that are bare, and this ability doesn't seem to have much effect. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Primitive Planet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Primitive Planet. But soon Bai Mang realized the value of this ability, because when his eyes scanned a solitary green grass not far away, the ball began to automatically broadcast. Coagulation grass is non-toxic and has no side effects. It has extremely strong hemostatic and wound healing effects. Sheep scorpion fruit. It is non-toxic and has no side effects, and can be consumed directly. It has a strong nourishing effect on yin and yang, and can last for a long time without any side effects. It is a good friend for men and a source of happiness for women. There is a small tree with a short head more than 10 meters away from the clotting grass, which bears some gray fruits. This thing looks very much like a fruit on Earth, like blueberries. Bai Mang finally remembered. Grab the grass. This thing is a good thing. Even if you don't use it yourself, you can sell it to others for use, hee 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 hee. Small ball. Can I pick some sheep fruits called this? Sheep scorpion fruit. Of course you can pick it, everything on the blue Mang star is yours, you can distribute it freely. Bai Mang immediately picked over 20 fruits from this small tree with great enthusiasm. He didn't pick all the fruits, partly because some of them were clearly not ripe, and partly because he had to leave seeds for others, so they couldn't be fully harvested. If there were many fruit trees like this, he wanted to dig one back and cultivate it, but he gave up this plan when he only saw one. After picking the scorpion fruit, he also picked up a few leaves of clotting grass and white poisonous flowers by hand. Now it seems that this beginner gift package still has a considerable weight. Of course, if you give benefits, you must have a responsibility. The sky won't just drop pie out of thin air. Little ball. The beginner's task has been completed. What is the total task? Your ultimate task is to turn the planet of Lan Mang into a habitable planet for intelligent creatures, and of course, you may also bring back the things on this planet to your planet and make use of them. I said, little ball. Don't you look up to me too much. I'm only one person, and you asked me to turn such a big planet into a habitable planet for intelligent creatures. Isn't that a joke? Didn't I just tell you that as the system level increases, you will have abilities that you wouldn't even dream of, and in the future, this planet will also generate intelligent life, which can help you work. Pull it down. The formation of intelligent life is calculated in billions of years. Do you think I can live that long? That's right, you can also immigrate. Immigrate the surplus humans on your planet here to help you. Is it still possible to do this? But what are the ways to immigrate? When the time is right, you can establish teleportation arrays on the planet Lan Mang and Earth, so that people and supplies can be transported over. Get it? This poll was supported until the year 3000. If immigration is really possible, it would be a good idea. Don't say it's so far, can you tell me what the next task is? Let me take a look. The little ball searched for a while. Your next task is to cultivate a piece of land on the blue Mang star and build a livable house, which can earn you 100 contribution points. Once you reach the first level with contribution points, you will know your future tasks and upgrade conditions. Your sister. Only by opening a piece of land and building a house can you give 100 contribution points. Your system is too stingy. I don't have a sister. Sun Xiaoqiu defended seriously. I know you broke through a crack in a stone. This thing really broke out of a stone, maybe its ancestors still have the surname Sun. Xiaoqiu. I reckon you don't have a surname yet. In the future, you can just have your surname Sun, and I'll call you Sun Xiaoqiu. The name seems to fit the system, and it has no objection at all. Sun Xiaoqiu. There doesn't seem to be much to look forward to here either. I don't think I have the motivation to come here to reclaim land and build a house. You will have motivation. Do you want money? Why talk about money? Talking about money is so tacky. Human beings are truly hypocritical. When you talk about money, your eyes sparkle, but you can still lie without changing your face or heart. It seems that lying is human nature. Don't talk nonsense, tell me how to make money. If you tell me there are gold mines on this planet, I promise to keep going. What is gold? Your planet has precious metals like the blue star, and there are also things like the blue star that your planet doesn't have. Bai Mang's eyes lit up and he said, really? Of course it's true, but you have to explore on your own. If you can't find me, there's no trick, and I don't know where they are hidden. I'll tell you a secret message. If you can find the gold mine in Lanmangsing, its purity is 100%. Get out of here, metal doesn't have 100% purity. That's your planet, and the worst metal purity on Lansang is also 99%. Is there really such a high purity metal? It's not cost-effective to cultivate a piece of land and build a house for only 100% contribution value. Is there a more cost-effective plan? Let me take a look again. Sun Xiaoqiu searched for it again. There is an auxiliary plan, which is to cultivate a piece of land and plant 100 plants. Is that cost-effective? Plant 100 plants. Any type of plant will do. As long as it's a plant, you can plant it as you please, but it must be planted alive. This condition seems to be acceptable. You can plant it casually, and even plant wild grass, which is much simpler. The vitality of wild grass is very tenacious, it can live with any kind of life. Taking advantage of the fact that it was still noon on Lan Mang's star and he still had sufficient physical strength, Bai Mang began a simple exploration on this planet. He stepped onto a high post and looked around. Eyes are filled with yellow and brown, yellow represents the desert, and brown represents the Gobi. Almost no green is visible. This planet is still in its original ecological state. However, with water and suitable temperature, it is not impossible for this planet to develop under these conditions. Just a few glances, I saw dark clouds rolling in one direction of the sky, and then it came to his head at a speed faster than on Earth, and then I'll go. Is the rain on this planet so sudden and intense? The raindrops were as big as finger covers, and this Nima was almost caught in hail. Sun Xiaoqiu. It's raining heavily, we should go back now. Sun Xiaoqiu brushed the ground and opened the interface in front of him. Bai Mang found the return sign on the interface and clicked it. In the next second, his figure disappeared on the blue Mang star. Bai Mang reappeared in his backyard, and the large pit on the ground was still vividly remembered. Fill in the big hole tomorrow and go back to the house to sleep. It's too late. Bai Mang returned to the room, his computer was still on, and the game was also on, of course, giving it a Muo flavor. Bai Mang exited the game and was about to shut down. He casually glanced at the time in the bottom right corner of the screen and unexpectedly found that it was still a little over 12 o'clock. This he spent more than 2 hours on the planet Lanmangsing, but there hasn't been any change in time on Earth, which is a bit incomprehensible. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Base Area. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Base area. Bai Mang's father is an honest farmer who has planted more than 10 acres of land at home. When he has free time, he works as a laborer in the infrastructure team and can earn 30,000 to 40,000 yuan a year. His mother is a housewife. After finishing household chores, she sometimes goes out to do some odd jobs and earn a little money to support her family. The family is not too difficult, but it is definitely not wealthy, and eating is still not a problem. Bai Mang didn't get into any serious university either. After taking a vocational college for 2 years and feeling bored, he dropped out of school. I didn't even ask for a diploma. After returning home, there was no formal job, so I was idle at home. Apart from doing some odd jobs outside, I earned a living by playing video games. Bai Mang's grandfather is 82 years old this year and has a bad disease, lung cancer. I stayed in the hospital for over half a month, but because I was too old to undergo surgery, I was discharged and went home. The doctor suggests chemotherapy, saying that chemotherapy may improve. I don't know if he believes it when he says this. Anyway, Bai Mang doesn't believe it. He is against Grandpa's chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is not as simple as taking painkillers. Chemotherapy patients have to endure various discomforts and pains. A person in their 80s is already critically ill and knows that chemotherapy won't cure them well. Why would they have to endure that kind of pain? And the cost is particularly expensive. If it weren't for chemotherapy, my grandfather might still be able to live for a year and a half. Once chemotherapy is done, the person will basically be gone in a few months. Bai Mang has checked online and found that cases that have undergone good chemotherapy are all benign tumors, while he has not seen cases of malignant tumors that have undergone good chemotherapy. This is his main reason against his grandfather's chemotherapy. The next morning, Bai Mang rode an electric bike to the village where his grandfather lived 8 miles away. Father, brother, and sister, a total of 3 siblings. Grandpa is now living with uncle. When Bai Mang arrived at the uncle's house, his parents, uncles, aunts, and parents were all here, forcing smiles around his grandfather. Grandpa's spirit is quite good, and he even smiled when he saw Bai Mang coming. Bai Mang greeted his grandfather, greeted him, and then went to the outer room to listen to his uncle and aunt's decision on treating his grandfather's illness. The old man is sick, and as a child, we cannot ignore him. Even if we smash the pot and sell iron, we must receive treatment, said Bai Mang's father, Bai Changjiang, in silence for a while. The 3 siblings in their family are not wealthy, but the old man is sick and cannot be ignored. The Bai family is not a family that produces unfilial sons. My father, uncle, and uncle seem to support my grandfather's chemotherapy. Although Bai Mang opposes chemotherapy, the adults have made a decision and he has not expressed any further opinions. He knows that his opinions will not change the direction of things, and speaking them out is of no use. After making a decision, adults start doing whatever they need to do. Bai Mang returned to his grandfather's room and held his grandfather's hand to chat with him. He is the only 3rd-generation male in the Bai family, and his uncle has 2 daughters, so his grandfather treats him the best in his daily life. Bai Mang and Grandpa just chatted a few idle words, but Sun Xiaoqiu came out uninvited. Flying around Grandpa Bai Mang. Don't scare my grandfather. Don't worry. He can't see me, oh my. Your grandfather has a health problem. There is a round sarcoma in this area, which looks like a scale. Sun Xiaoqiu hovered in the air in his grandfather's right lung. Can you see my grandfather's condition? Bai Mang was a little surprised. What's here? I can see everything, and I can also see inside your clothes. Bai Mang immediately felt a chill in his pants. My grandfather has lung cancer, and you can see his symptoms. Can you remove that sarcoma? I can't do it. But there are 3 types of plants on the blue Mang star. Crushing them together to make soup and drink can eliminate this sarcoma. Is that considered cured? Really? Bai Mang was pleasantly surprised. He was just casually asking, but unexpectedly Sun Xiaoqiu actually came up with a solution. If the tumor is eliminated, it will naturally be cured. Of course it's true. Plants like the white clover, willow, and golden lotus on the blue star can eliminate tumors from your human body. Can any tumor be eliminated? Of course, any tumor can be eliminated. Grab the grass. This is about getting rich. In the future, open a clinic on the street to specialize in treating various tumors. Nowadays, treating a tumor costs at least tens of thousands of yuan and at most tens of millions. I only take 2 to 3,000 at once, isn't my heart black? One person costs 2 to 3,000, 10 people cost 2 to 300,000, what about 100 people? How about 1,000 people? It's difficult to get rich or not. Little ball. Are there many of these 3 herbs on the grass, orchids, and stars? Not much. And it's not in the same place yet, it's difficult to find. If you're lucky, you can find it in 3 months or 2. If you're lucky, you might not be able to find it for years. Bai Mang's head was like a boiling pot poured into a bucket of cold water, cooling from head to toe. Bai Te is so happy. How many more months will luck take? His grandfather doesn't know if he can survive for a few months. But no matter how difficult it is to find, Bai Mang decided to go to Lan Mangxing tonight. Bai Mang bid farewell to his grandfather and rode his electric bike home. Tonight we are going to Lan Mangxing, so naturally we need to prepare. Besides finding herbs for Grandpa, Bai Mang is also preparing to complete the first task. He only has 1 square meter of storage space, bringing machinery over would be too much of a hassle, and he can only rely on a pickaxe to open up land. Bai Mang removed the head of the pickaxe and sawed it short again, otherwise it wouldn't fit into the storage space. I also brought a shovel to the open field and dug over 100 weeds with roots. After planting wild grass, it is necessary to water it, otherwise even the grass may not live, and of course, a watering can is indispensable. It may take a long time to come back from this trip to Lan Mangxing, and Bai Mang also brought rice and water. To be on the safe side, he also prepared a machete that was over a foot long, and a compass was necessary. However, he didn't know if this thing would work on the blue star. After everything was ready, at midnight, Bai Mang arrived at Lan Mangxing. The night of the earth is the day of the blue star, I don't know what setting this is. It's still the place where he appeared last time. Lan Mangxing will definitely come frequently in the future, so choosing a long-term fixed foothold is like a base. Then radiate outwards through this base area. Bai Mang began to search for suitable places as a base. This place should have water facing the sun and avoiding the wind, and it will not be disturbed by natural disasters such as rainstorm and typhoon. The most important thing is that the nearby land should be flat and fertile for future development. After a round of inspection, Bai Mang chose his base by the river ahead. The base naturally needs to be located near the water source. This is a medium-sized river with a width of about 30.40 meters, and the water flow is relatively gentle and clear to the bottom. Based on the traces left by the water on the riverbank, Bai Mang determined the width of the river when it rose. I chose my base at the foot of a lonely mountain by the river. The height of this isolated mountain and the ground is visually measured to be around 10 meters, square and circular. Bai Mang walked around this isolated mountain, probably just smoking a cigarette. This is a small mountain that doesn't count as a mountain. There are many isolated small mountains like this on the riverbank, about a dozen in shape, with similar heights and shapes. Just like what was copied out. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Treating 1 as 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Treating 1 as 10. Leaning against a solitary mountain and facing the river, facing the sun, about 200 meters away from the riverbank, the land around the small mountain is relatively flat. Judging from the traces left by various natural factors on the ground, this is not a place that enjoys strong winds. This is a place that fits Bai Mang's expectations quite well, but the downside is that there are fewer trees on both sides. Bai Mang's base was chosen here. Sun Xiaoqiu. Here. Sun Xiaoqiu ran out immediately and stood on Bai Mang's shoulder. This will be our base in the future. Please mark it here and we will come directly to this place. Good. After choosing a good place, Bai Mang began to make some plans. This place will be used for building houses in the future, and it will be a courtyard, leaving a place for leisure and rest. After completing the plan, he began his first system task. Take out pickaxes and shovel from the storage space, and start digging pits and planting grass outside his planned area. This is all sandy land, but the sand content is slightly higher. If you plant only grains, there may not be any good results, but planting grass is not a problem. Planting grass does not require any technical skills, as Bai Mang casually dug a pit and carried down the weeds brought from the earth. Although he only dug 100 weeds, there are quite a few types, including both grasses and broad-leaved weeds. Niujin grass, matong grass, dogtail grass, kanmai nyang, jijie wheat, sparrow wheat, wild oat, baimao grass, two-ear grass, etc. Broad-leaved weeds include xanthium, duckweed, and abutilon. Quickly, all 100 grasses were planted. Sun Xiaoqiu cheered on the side and said, "Congratulations to the ball master. You completed the first system task and earned 100 contribution points. Now your cultivation level has been raised to level 1, and you have gained the ability to match 1 with 10. A interface appeared in front of Bai Mang, and he saw a table. Lan Mang Star Reclamation System. Star Master. Bai Mang, age. 23, gender. Male, status. Normal, with a contribution value of 100. The current level of Lan Mang Xing's cultivation is 1 level, and the next level of improvement requires 250 contribution points. The current number of points owned is 1. The contribution value for the next level is set at 25205. You're only 205. 1 for 10. What kind of thing? It means you have the ability to do 1 equal to 10, just like when you were digging holes and planting grass, planting 1 tree at a time. With the ability to do 1 equal to 10, you can dig 10 holes and plant 10 trees at once. Ah! Is there anything else about this? Bai Mang didn't believe it and picked up a pickaxe to dig a hole in the open ground. Sun Xiaoqiu. Lying is not a good child. You have to mutter that before starting work, you have to say 1 is worth 10. You still need to recite a curse. 1 for 10. Bai Mang muttered and swung the pickaxe again. The pickaxe landed and a miracle occurred. With a single brush, 10 earth pits were dug out on the ground in the same vertical arrangement. Grab the grass. It's true. I was paralyzed and didn't take out this ability early, which made me waste half a day's effort. Small ball. What does this point mean? Bai Mang saw it, he still has 1 more point. You won't be able to use this now, you'll only know when the system reaches level 3 or 4. It's not a good habit to keep playing tricks. Once weeds are planted, they also need to be watered. Without drinking water, they may not survive. Bai Mang took out a watering can and went to the river to fetch water, and Sun Xiaoqiu landed on his shoulder. Riverside are usually lush areas with water and grass, but apart from a small green plant that can be seen far away, most of the riverbanks are exposed riverbanks and covered with pebbles. Build a house at the foot of Xiaogu Mountain, then build a road to the river, build a small dock by the river, and transport a small boat from the earth. This river should have a name, let's call its clear and bright water Lianghe. Bai Mang carried the water back to the place where he was planting grass, recited the sentence, 1 for 10, before starting to water the weeds. This ability is really good. He can water 10 weeds in one go, and he watered 100 weeds 10 times before finishing. I don't know if this ability will become 100, 1,000 miles a day, 1,000 machines a day in the future. If so, that would be great. Just planting a weed earns a contribution, which is too thin. Sun Xiaoqiu. Now we should go find the 3 herbs you mentioned. Do you know their approximate directions? Let me take a look. Sun Xiaoqiu stood on Bai Mang's shoulder and set up a greenhouse with his hands. It's too short. I can't see it. Bai Mang turned around and looked at the small solitary mountain behind him, as if he could climb it. He then climbed up with his hands, feet, and land. This time I stand tall and see far. I only know that there is one tree in that direction, measured by your Earth standards, about 3 miles away. Sun Xiaoqiu's fingers pointed north. 3 miles away. If the distance of 3 miles is all on a flat road, it is not too far. But if there are ditches and obstacles in the middle, it's not easy to walk. Bai Mang took out his compass and unexpectedly found that it was also useful here. Although it shook a bit, the general direction guidance was still similar. Pack up your things and set off. To the north, there are almost all Gobi, followed by isolated small mountains that resemble karst landforms, leaving nothing else. Sun Xiaoqiu stood on Bai Mang's shoulder as if he was busy with something. Sun Xiaoqiu. What are you doing? Draw a map. Without a map, how can you cultivate land on the blue star? This approach is too reasonable. For pioneers, maps are too important props. Ah. Can you still draw a map? I will also learn and grow. So what can you grow into in the future? I don't know about this either, it's definitely going to grow anyway. As Bai Mang walked, he chatted aimlessly with Sun Xiaoqiu and unknowingly walked for 3 miles. Luck is quite good, the first herb is located on the edge of this desert, and further down is a bare canyon. If we go 10 or 20 meters further, this herb will be difficult to pick. Between the 2 stones on the edge of the Gobi Desert, a cluster of plants grows alone, with slender leaves and several bare poles. There are blooming flowers and a few seeds on the stem that seem to have not yet fully matured. White berry grass. A perennial herbaceous plant with a height of 20.30 centimeters. The rhizome is thick and sturdy, running horizontally, with round nodules and many fibrous roots. The stem is upright and shield-like, with strong inhibitory effects on various tumors. That's it. It's just that the seeds haven't fully matured yet. If they were picked, wouldn't it be a waste? Bai Mang thought for a moment and decided to transplant this white clover back to the base area, waiting for its seeds to fully mature before picking them. Anyway, there are still 2 other herbs that have not been found yet, and the effect of light harvesting itself is also limited. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Magical Clotting Grass. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Magical Clotting Grass. Bai Mang took out a shovel and carefully dug a circular pit with a diameter of 60 centimeters and a depth of about half a meter along the periphery of the white berry grass, digging out this herb. Inverted the things in the space and put the white clover into the storage space, bringing it back to the base and planting it in the ground. The next step is to find 2 other herbs. After some confusion, Sun Xiaoqiu finally found the location of the other 2 herbs. One plant is located 5 miles to the west and the other 7 miles to the east. If only I had a desert motorcycle, I wouldn't have to rely on my legs to run around. When I have money, I must buy a desert motorcycle. It's not possible either. When I have money, I have to wait for the space in my backpack to have that much space. There is only 1 square meter of space now, and even an electric scooter cannot handle it. This herb to the west also grows on the edge of this Gobi Desert, and this herb is the golden lotus. Bai Mang also transplanted the golden silk lotus to the base area, and then went to dig the last Tengliu flower. The picking of Tengliu flowers is somewhat difficult. It does not grow on the Gobi, but on a small mountain. Sun Xiaoqiu confidently said that Tengliu was right on the mountaintop. This lonely hill is much higher than the one chosen by Bai Mang, appearing to be 15 or 16 meters high, with very steep surroundings. Bai Mang circled the small mountain 3 times before deciding on a path to climb. The ridge that runs east-west along the small mountain leads up to the mountainside, where there is a stone to rest on. But if we go any further, we will take risks. No matter how dangerous it is, he must go up. Star-Lord. I think it's better to forget about it. It's too dangerous here, why don't we find the next one? Can you find another Tengliu flower? Let me search. Sun Xiaoqiu stood on Bai Mang's shoulder and began to search again. There's a Tengliu flower 15 miles north. Sun Xiaoqiu was excited. But Bai Mang was not excited at all. Going north. He remembers clearly that when they were picking the white berry grass just now, they had already reached the northern edge of this gobi, and further north was a deep ravine that they couldn't go down. And there is still a distance of 15 miles. Let's deal with this herb on the small mountain in front of us. At this moment, Bai Mang is on the mountainside, about 7 or 8 meters above the ground. It doesn't sound high, but for Bai Mang, who has acrophobia, this height of 7 or 8 meters is enough to make him dizzy and dizzy. But for the sake of his grandfather's illness, he felt it was worth fighting for. Bai Mang chose a new path up the mountain and began to climb cautiously. But I only took 1 step up, and when I stepped on the second protruding stone, my body slipped and lost its center of gravity. Bai Mang, with quick eyes and quick hands, grabbed the protruding stone he had just stepped on. Although it didn't fall, the body was suspended. The most deadly thing was a cut on the back of my hand, and besides the pain, there was blood flowing out. Although Sun Xiaoqiu exclaimed in surprise, he couldn't help much. Bai Mang quickly assessed the situation he was facing. A height of 7 or 8 meters above the ground, which is the height of a 3-story building, even jumping down is very dangerous. Falling from a distance of 7 or 8 meters is impossible, but it is certain that one will be half dead or not alive. The stone I just stopped at is half a meter away from me, and I can only climb back to the stone. Bai Mang used his right hand to pick up the protruding stone, and his left hand probed and slowly placed it on the edge of the landing stone. Fortunately, the edge of the stone was just raised, which gave him a grip. After grasping firmly with the left hand, the right hand swung hard to the left, and then caught the edge of the stone between the electric light and fire stones with the right hand. After struggling for a while, exhausted Bai Mang finally climbed back onto the stone where he had just landed. He lay on the stone and took a long breath. At least he crawled back. Star-Lord. Your hand has shed a lot of blood, use clotting grass quickly. Sun Xiaoqiu reminded on the side. Bai Mang looked at the 1-inch long wound on his right wrist and was startled. There are arterial blood vessels here, and the current blood flow is like a torrent, which poses a life-threatening danger. Quickly took out the clotting grass from the space, grabbed a leaf, chewed it, and applied it to the wound. Then Bai Mang saw a terrifying scene. As soon as the clotting grass is applied, the blood stops flowing. If that wound is healing at a visible speed to the naked eye. After about half a minute, the wound on his wrist healed. When Bai Mang rubbed his eyes and looked at his wrist again, it was already intact as before, as if nothing had happened. Baby. If this thing is brought to the battlefield, soldiers with skin injuries can heal their wounds and continue fighting within 1 minute, which should have the qualification of strategic materials. Go home and quickly plant the clotting grass. If the country comes to purchase it in the future, it can be sold for a lot of money. There is also the sheep-scorpion fruit of the man's beneficial friend, although I don't know its efficacy yet. From the efficacy of the clotting herb, it is not much worse. This is something that can make a fortune, it must be transplanted to earth. There are also 3 herbs for treating tumors. But where to plant it is also a question to consider. Planting in one's own garden is definitely not acceptable, as being too eye-catching can lead to many unnecessary troubles. It's best to plant it in a mountain with few people. The Buyan mountain to the north of their village is a nice place, with few people in the mountains. You can open a paradise there yourself. This problem will be thoroughly studied and researched after returning. The current problem is how to get this Tengliu flower off the small mountaintop. Bai Mang stood up again to search for a way up the mountain, and finally found a stone protruding over half a meter from the mountain on the opposite side. The shape of this stone protruding from the mountain is somewhat like a pillar, with a thickness of about 7 or 8 centimeters. It protrudes abruptly from the mountain and is about 4 or 5 meters above the White Mang slope. If there is a rope that can be tied to a stone pillar and then climbed up along the rope, the job is done. He definitely doesn't have a rope in his hand now, so he needs to go home to prepare. Little ball. Let's tie a rope to that stone pillar and climb up, but how can we tie the rope to the pillar? Bai Mang's gaze fell on Sun Xiaoqiu. Sun Xiaoqiu was very smart and said, "Don't expect me. I can't get by now, but when I grow up, I can grow wings. What if I throw you over like a discus? I'm timid and will be scared to death. Anyway, I won't get this herb today. Let's go home. What is the next task? Upload 2 trees on the Blue Mang star. This task doesn't seem difficult. Since we can't pick Tengliu flowers now, let's go home and come back tomorrow night." End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Childhood Sweethearts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Childhood Sweethearts. Bai Mang went home to sleep and didn't wake up until after 8 o'clock the next morning. Running for several miles in Lanmangsing is not tiring, it's a lie. After getting up, washing my face and brushing my teeth, and boiling a bag of instant noodles, it was already 8:30. Pick up your phone and select the equipment for climbing cliffs. To get Tengliu in hand, one must climb to the small mountaintop and have similar climbing equipment. He naturally needs to be prepared, and he doesn't want to take another risk. Climbing equipment includes ropes, iron locks, rope sleeves, rock cones, rock hammers, rock wedges, etc. Pai Xiao has never been short of such things, and with a loud bang, a large area comes out. But at first glance at the price, the cheapest one costs over 300 yuan, while the better one is close to 1,000 yuan, even the best one there's no need to look at the best, he can't even afford the cheapest now, and it's worth looking at the good. He only has over 100 yuan on him now, and even the cheapest equipment is still 234 yuan short. Where are we going to waste these 200 and dozens of yuan? Never mind if you care about your parents. 5 years ago, his family spent 100,000 yuan on buying the current house, which just flattened the money for buying a house. Grandpa has fallen ill again. Although I didn't have surgery, I still spent more than 10,000 yuan now, and took out all the 5,000 yuan my family only had. I don't have any money at home either. We can only rely on ourselves to find a solution. If it really doesn't work, we can only find a rope and tie an iron claw to deal with it. He remembers that his grandfather had iron claws at home, which were used to catch buckets of water. But later on, the water well and electric water pump were all changed, and the bucket gradually disappeared, but this iron claw was still preserved by my grandfather. It's almost 9 o'clock now, so he rode his beloved motorcycle back to Bai Mang village where his grandfather lives. When there was still 3 miles away from Bai Mang village, a girl with a backpack appeared in front of her, and her figure looked quite good from behind, very tall and straight. Bai Mang had seen enough of the other person behind him, and when he passed by, he pretended to be serious and passed by the girl without looking back. Bai Mang. Unexpectedly, the woman let out a loud cry. Bai Mang was so excited that she almost rode the electric bike into the ditch. Looking back. Yao Yu. Yao Yu is a neighbor of her grandfather's family, and we can also be considered childhood friends. Bai Mang is 1 year older than Yao Yu, and when she was a child, she led her to do many absurd things. For example, climbing trees to dig bird nests and studying the structure of bird nests. Digging mouse holes in the wilderness and exploring the depths of the mice. I don't know how many times I've done it, like stealing sweet melons, pears and dates from someone else's orchard. I got beaten up for this. Later on, as the two grew older, they stopped doing such things. However, when they were in school, the two often went to and from school together. For this reason, the villagers have always called them a couple since they were young, and he has fought against many children in the village for it. Just 5 years ago, his family bought a house in another village and moved out of Boyang village, and their contact became less. In the past 2 years, there have been even more interruptions. Brother Bai Mang. Where are you rushing to? Aren't you asking knowingly? I'm heading towards Baiyang village. Where do you think I can go? Go to your grandfather's house. My grandfather is sick, I'll go take a look. Ah. Second grandpa is sick. What disease? Ah. It's not a good illness, come on. I'll hold you. Yao Yu was also polite and sat sideways in the back seat of the electric car. Yao Yu. Why are you carrying a shoulder bag? It's vacation. Go home. It is now the end of June, and it is normal for some universities to have summer vacation. You went to college. What school? Provincial Agricultural College. Agricultural College. Your choice is a bit surprising. What made you think about applying to an agricultural college? If your head gets stuck in the door, it's still a bit of a dog pee. A big girl went to an agricultural college, which sounded very surreal. What are you talking about? I just want to learn agronomy and come back to cultivate seeds, making strawberries as big as apples and apples as big as watermelons. What about watermelons? How big do you want to cultivate them? They're as big as wheels. You're arguing with me again. Haha. Didn't I just follow your advice, by the way? Why didn't I bring back a boyfriend when I went home from vacation? Boyfriend? No. Ah. You didn't even get along with your boyfriend. How did you venture into the world? If you look like Zhu Beiji in his second aunt, it's okay. How could someone who looks like Pan Jinlian not be pursued? Sigh. Bai Mang took a cold breath and was attacked by the 9-in white bone claw on his waist. The pain surged through his body like an electric current from the trigger point on his waist, which was called a sour sensation. It's not that no one is pursuing it, it's that there's no feeling. Hey. Tell me about you, what have you been doing in these years? What are you doing? I'm a disabled young man now. I haven't done anything yet, just staying at home to grow old. Sadly, I can't grow old yet. Didn't you also attend college? What kind of university is that for me? It's a broken college. I went to study for 1.5 years, but when I realized it wasn't interesting, I decided not to drop out. So when you were in college, you didn't have a girlfriend? Making a girlfriend? I don't have that mindset. Did you lack that mindset or did you pursue success? What does it mean to pursue without success? But there are girls who show favoritism towards me, but I really don't have that mindset. That's it. You must be sick. You're sick. No illness. No illness. Why don't you have the mindset to have a girlfriend? Ah. I understand now, your sexual orientation is problematic. Shouldn't you like guys? Can we still chat happily? Even if I have sexual orientation issues, I won't like guys. How could you not have the heart to make a girlfriend? This is absolutely abnormal. I don't know why, but when I faced those girls, I didn't feel anything at all. After thinking for a while, Yao Yu finally came to the conclusion. This is still sick. Got it. Do you want to take the car? Believe it or not, I'll kick you off. Cluck. Brother Bai Mang. To be serious, what are you doing now? I'm working on a big project now, I'm transforming the planet. Transforming the planet. Just say you can fix the Earth. I'm really transforming a planet. I have a planet called Avatar, which has the same environment as Earth, but it's a bit barren now. I'm planning to transform it to be like Earth. It's over, it's over. You're not very healthy yet, why don't I take you to the hospital tomorrow, ha ha ha. During the conversation, the car arrived at Bai Yang village. Bai Mang stopped the electric bike in front of Yao Yu's house. Yao Yu got off the car and invited Bai Mang to sit at her house for a while. No. I'll hurry up and go see my grandfather. I'll go sit at Grandpa's house later. Yao Yu returned home, while Bai Mang parked his electric bike at his grandfather's doorstep and got off the car to enter the house. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Childhood Stories. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Childhood Stories. Uncle Bai Mang went to the city hospital early in the morning to contact his grandfather about chemotherapy. When Bai Mang entered the house, he had just returned and said that he would start chemotherapy from the day after tomorrow, once a week. Grandpa Bai Mang is in good spirits today. He even held Bai Mang's hand and asked if he had eaten. Bai Mang chatted with his grandfather for a while, then went out to his mansion and found the flying tiger claw with 4 claws on the wall. Due to the long time, the iron claws have rusted, and the degree of rust is still very severe. Bai Mang broke off those 4 claws to see if they were still sturdy. If they were not, he could only buy one. I don't want to break it off with a snap, just like an iron claw. I can't save these few dollars anymore. Bai Mang took out his phone and placed an order. Under normal circumstances, it takes 3 days for the flying tiger claw and rope to arrive. Uncle. Is there anyone else taking care of the wild boar ditch in Buyun Mountain this year? Wild Boar Ditch is the farthest mountain ditch in the southern section of Buyun Mountain, including the hills on both sides, with an area of about 7 or 8 square kilometers. Uncle Bai Mang looked at Bai Mang in confusion and said, "What are you asking about? Are you going to take on the contract?" "Just ask, someone in our village asked me to help ask if anyone has contracted it and how much it costs per year. There is no mention of contracting now, it's just buying the right to use it. After buying it for 30 years, no one bought the Wild Boar Gully because it's too deep. Its cost is not high, but it costs tens of thousands of yuan per year, and it takes 30 years to pay. This means buying the right to use the Wild Boar Valley, with a minimum of 300,000 yuan. For Bai Mang at present, this is just a dream. Behind my grandfather's house is a small hill that is about 20 meters high. On the slope, my grandfather planted some fruit trees a few years ago. Due to his health and age, he has been unable to take care of these trees for the past 2 years. Uncle is working outside, and he doesn't have time to take care of them. These fruit trees have become childless children, growing wild and producing fruit that is not only small but also insect-like. Bai Mang walked in this small orchard, heading towards the mountaintop. Flat front. Perennial herbaceous plant with straight roots. The leaves are rooted and have long stalks, with long elliptical or elliptical lanceolate leaves. They are diuretic, expectorant, and antitussive. A butylon, an annual subshrubs herb, with soft hairs on its stems and branches. Its leaves are round and heart-shaped, clearing heat, promoting dampness, detoxifying, and reducing haze. It is mainly used to treat red and white dysentery, gonorrhea, astringency, swelling, and blurred vision. Apple tree. Deciduous tree, Rosaceae pear. A deciduous tree in the Rosaceae family, with branches and thorns. Buds are mostly conical, with a pointed tip. At the same time as Bai Mang climbed the mountain, he opened the plant recognition system. The various wild grasses passing under his feet and the fruit trees in the orchard were identified by the recognition system, which rushed into Bai Mang's brain. There are many plants, and the system processing gives people a feeling of chaos, and their minds are almost being disturbed by copying. Bai Mang quickly shut down the plant identification system and made up his mind not to turn it on until needed. Bai Mang reached the top of the mountain slope and stood at the highest point, gazing at Buyun Mountain in the north. Buyan Mountain has an altitude of about 1,500 meters and is the highest mountain range in the local area, covering the largest area. The slopes at the foot of Bai Mang belong to the Buyan Mountain range, but they are only the smallest branch at the end. In front of him is a mountain ditch that leads all the way to the main peak of Buyan Mountain. The outer part of this mountain ditch is called Xianyan Gully, and the inner part is called Wild Boar Gully. The reason why this ditch has two names is not only its narrow length, but also its different directions. Xianyan Gully faces east, and when it reaches Wild Boar Gully, it faces due south, forming an L-shaped mountain valley. In fact, there are no wild boars in the Wild Boar Valley. To explore the history of wild boars in the Wild Boar Valley, one may have to go back to the time of 40 or 50 years ago. When Bai Mang left Baiyang village before moving, he went in twice, but there were not many memories left in his mind. Bai Mang wanted to find a place to plant herbs on Lon Mang Star, and the first thing he thought of was the Wild Boar Gully. He felt that this place matched his ideal place in his mind. Someone contracted to build an orchard in Zhangjiangu, while someone had previously contracted to build an orchard in Wild Boar Gully. However, after 30 years, no one contracted again and it was left unused. Brother Bai Mang. What are you doing here? Yao Yu came up from the foot of the mountain panting heavily. Take a look at the scenery here. Looking at the scenery. What's so beautiful about the scenery here? I'm looking at the Wild Boar Gully, and I'm planning to buy it and build an orchard. Really? That's a good idea, I think it works. But if you want to buy a wild boar ditch, you might have to pay a lot of money. Do you have money? No. I was just daydreaming. There is only a wall between daydreaming and ideals, and one day daydreaming may become an ideal. By the way, you just came back and didn't stay at home. What are you doing here? Let me take a look at Grandpierre. I just came up from Grandpierre's small orchard. Sigh. The small orchard is all deserted, it's a pity. If no one takes care of them, they will naturally become abandoned. The fruit trees in these small orchards are also old and can only be chopped down for firewood. This small orchard has so many beautiful memories. Do you remember when we were young, we once stole your grandfather's plums from this orchard to eat? Which time? It was the time when your teeth were sore. You still have the face to say, your grandfather said that plums are not ripe and cannot be eaten. You bastard insisted on pulling me to pick plums and eat them, which made my teeth ache. Ha ha ha. I was deliberately trying to adjust your play. I didn't expect your two tiger girls to swallow the raw plums in one bite. Your expression at the time was so sour that my eyes and nose were sore, and my whole body was shaking like an electric shock. Ha ha ha. It was so fun. Yao Yu swung her fist and smashed it onto Bai Mang's shoulder, saying, let me make you laugh. Let me make you bad. At this moment, my mother's cry came from the foot of the mountain. Come down to eat. Have you eaten yet? My mom hasn't done it yet. How many plates did your mother stir fry for you? I haven't counted, there's quite a lot anyway. Why don't you come to my house to eat? What's wrong with me coming to your house for dinner? Sample. Did you eat less at home? When I was a child. Do you still mention my childhood? Once when I was a child, I ate at your house at night and fell asleep after finishing my meal. In the middle of the night, you wet the bed and almost washed me away. Yao Yu blushed and said, don't say that. I have a deep memory of this, I can't recall anything else. Ah. I fought with you. The two of them had a fight and came to the foot of the mountain, and Yao Yu went home. Bai Mang finished his meal and was ready to go home. My mother is also going back today, and my grandfather has nothing to do for now. We don't need too many people here. Bai Mang carried his mother home on an electric bike, and as he passed by Yao Yu's house, Yao Yu extended her head from inside. Brother Bai Mang. Are you going to the market tomorrow? Tomorrow is the day of their Tailing Township market. Let's take a look. Maybe we'll go to the market tomorrow. I'll be waiting for you at the east entrance of the market tomorrow. Okay. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Plants Go Crazy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Plants Go Crazy, Son. What do you think of Xiaoye? Mom. If you have nothing to do, go play mahjong. Don't daydream. Your son is no longer on the same side as others, and you will be criticized for being a romantic couple. Although Yao Yu is from the Academy of Agricultural Sciences, she is also from 1985. What is she? Bai Mang has a clear understanding. Upon hearing Bai Mang's words, my mother stopped mentioning this matter. My mother has returned, so Bai Mang doesn't have to stay at home to watch the house in the afternoon. He carried a shovel to the river near his house and dug a forsythia seedling and another sakura seedling. Cherries are already out of season this season. These are small trees that are easy to store in storage space. Looking around without anyone, I stuffed these two small trees into the storage space. I also randomly dug up some wild vegetables and grass. Planting a weed can earn a contribution value, and planting grass is also a choice when there is no other way to obtain contribution value. A little is better than nothing. Although the flying tiger claw and rope won't arrive until the day after tomorrow, Lan Mangxing still needs to go and take a look. See if the weeds he planted have survived. At night, after his mother fell asleep, Bai Mang inserted the door of his room in reverse and turned off the lights to activate the system, arriving at his base in Lan Mangxing. The aftermath of dizziness left by the teleportation was eliminated, and Bai Mang's eyes widened even larger than copper bells. Because he saw a sight that startled his chin. All the weeds he planted have come alive. This was not the reason that startled his chin, but rather the fact that these planted weeds had grown to waist-deep heights. You are just ordinary weeds, not tall plants like Artemisia annua. Did your mother know that you are so tall? Like Plantigo asiatica, when the branches are erect, they are only about 10 centimeters tall and never more than 15 centimeters, but now you have grown more than 1 foot tall with just the leaves. Are you going to rebel? And dandelions. What genes in your own family have you not counted? What do you mean by growing to over a foot high? Is it because you want to become a sperm? Moreover, the area of spread around has greatly increased, and this patch of weeds has actually expanded by more than twice the original planting area. It doesn't make sense that a piece of Gobi Desert has such great fertility. Bai Mang pulled open the root of a weed and was very surprised to find that the soil at the root of the weed had changed, and the land had turned into sandy loam. But how long did it take? In just one day, sandy loam appeared. What's going on this planet? The speed of evolution is also too fast. If life starts to emerge on this planet, will it grow up in one day? This is too abnormal. But there are also normal aspects. The two medicinal plants he transplanted, white berry grass and golden lotus, showed no significant changes and remained the same as before. Even the seeds and grains on top had not undergone significant changes and were still in the stage of rapid maturity and not yet mature. So, the local plants have not changed, but rather the foreign plants have gone crazy. We need to study this further. Plants from Earth have gone crazy on the planet Lanmang. Will the herbs from Lanmang also go crazy when cultivated on Earth? Since these weeds can grow such a big head, they should be planted sparsely when planting again. They should not be planted one by one, and sufficient space should be reserved for them to move around. Bai Mang planted a total of 71 newly dug weeds. The planting area of 71 weeds this time is larger than the planting area of 100 weeds last time, almost half of the land area. After planting the weeds, he dug a pit away from the weeds and then planted those two small trees. Next is watering. Bai Mang ran to the river and poured a total of 4 bottles of water, watering 2 small trees and the newly planted in yesterday's weeds. Although this place is not far from the river, running back and forth several times can be quite tiring. In the future, the planting area will increase, and watering will also be a problem. We need to find a way to avoid the need for people to fetch water. This doesn't seem difficult to solve either. Just buy a small gasoline generator and bring a small water pump from the river to pump the water. The premise is to have money. The second task has been completed. Congratulations to the Star Master for obtaining 131 contribution points. You can repeat these procedures to obtain more contribution points and more abilities. Sun Xiaoqiu broadcasted Bai Mang's harvest this time. 131 contribution values. 71 weeds can earn 70. 1 contribution points. Subtract 71 from 131 contribution values, leaving 60 contribution values. The remaining contribution value is obtained by planting 2 small trees. So planting a small tree can earn 30 contribution points. Grab the grass, you said it earlier. If I had said earlier, I would have dug more. If I dug 6 or 7 small trees, wouldn't it be possible to upgrade to level 2? Damn Sun Xiaoqiu, damn it. Tomorrow during the day, dig more small trees in the mountains. Unfortunately, the storage space is a bit small, but it can still fit 10 or 8 trees. Level 2 requires 250 contribution points, and now there are 131 contribution points. Planting 4 more small trees is enough. I don't know what abilities will be given if the planet's reclamation system is upgraded to level 2. It's best to expand the storage space a bit first, so that it can bring more things. Now Bai Mang has a rough understanding of the desert in the base area. This is a Gobi desert that is nearly 4 miles wide from north to south and 12 miles long from east to west. That is to say, this is a piece of land with a size of 12 square kilometers, which is 18,000 acres when converted into acres. But he still doesn't have a concept of how big the blue star is. How big is Lan Mang Xing? Bai Mang really doesn't care much. Just play with the Gobi desert in front of him first. Since the Gobi desert has such great fertility, next time bring some vegetables and fruits to plant, and then plant a few fruit trees to see what the scenery is like. Let's see if we can set up a flower orchard. If the fruit produced here is of good quality, it can be taken back to the earth for sale, which can also earn some money. If this road is feasible, then the river in front of us can also be utilized to see if we can dig a fish pond to raise fish, turtles, shrimp, and crabs. There's nothing else here, you can go home now. The next moment, Bai Mang returned to his home on Earth. The market in Tailing Township opens on the 49th day of the lunar calendar. Today is the 4th day of the lunar calendar, which is the day of the opening. Bai Mang arrived at the market and didn't see Yao Yu at the entrance, so he went to the Daquan Daily Necessities store. Upon inquiry, there are those selling flying tiger claws here, although they are more expensive than online, they are only 2 yuan more expensive. Bai Mang bought one and then bought a 20-meter long rope. Grandpa will go for chemotherapy tomorrow. Tonight, make sure to bring Tengliu back and try to boil the medicine out for Grandpa to drink before he goes for chemotherapy. If it works, Grandpa won't have to suffer from chemotherapy in the future. When he arrived at the market entrance again, Yao Yu arrived late. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Obtaining Tengliu flower. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Obtaining Tengliu flower. What is a pain for men? Accompanying women while shopping is definitely on the list. Although Bai Mang visited the market, it was the same principle as shopping. The definition of Bai Mang is that Yao Yu has been away from home for too long, so long that there is a gap in her head and she leaks water. She became interested in many things sold at the market. Bai Mang's side was disheartened, while Yao Yu's side was full of enthusiasm. If you are interested in clothing, shoes, and hats, it is understandable, but it would be too much for you to take a look at those who sell pigs. You also went to touch someone who sells cats, but the cat scratched you. This cat clearly has a bit of a temper and is really killing. Yao Yu's hand was scratched by a sharp cat claw, making a 2-centimeter-long incision and bleeding from the scratch. Oh my! It's bleeding. Don't make any noise. I can't die, I'm far away from you. Do you still have cheap hands? Why do you touch it when it's okay? I think that big cat is quite fun, I just want to touch it. Who wants it to be so fierce? Do you want to get vaccinated against rabies? Bai Mang was speechless and said, Sister. This is a cat, it's a cat scratch. What are you doing with rabies vaccination? Come here. Bai Mang took Yao Yu outside the market, took out a small leaf of clotting grass, tore it open, and applied a drop of juice dripping from the leaf to the wound on Yao Yu's hand. As he grabbed Yao Yu's hand, it visibly trembled. Don't move around aimlessly. All right. It'll be over in a while. Sure enough, in just about 2 or 3 minutes, Yao Yu was surprised to find that a small scratch on her hand from the cat had completely healed, as if nothing had happened there. This is not scientific. Yao Yu tossed and turned for half a day. What is that thing from you? Hemostatic herb. Hemostatic herb. Where did you get it? Show me. What's nice about this? It's almost noon, it's time to go home. Bai Mang glanced casually, trying to shift his gaze. Don't interrupt. Show me your hemostatic herb, this magical thing can't be enjoyed by you alone. Bai Mang handed the small leaf in his hand to Yao Yu and said, I'll give it to you. If you have any skin damage in the future, chew it up and apply it. If it dries for a long time, soak it in water when using it, by the way, don't tell anyone. Yao Yu was puzzled and said, Why don't you tell others? What's scary about people? Do you think this thing is everywhere? It's up to me to ask for it. Where can I get it? I only have 1 leaf. Where did you get it? I found it on the mountain, but there's nothing for sale in the store. On which mountain did you pick it up? Take me to pick it up. Bai Mang looked at Yao Yu with a displeased expression and said, I found it on the moon. Do you want to go? All right. I'm going home. Oh my pity. If you could plant this hemostatic herb, it would be of great use. What benefits would it bring? Of course, Bai Mang knows about this, but the conditions are not yet mature. Bai Mang gave Yao Yu the remaining small leaf of the clotting grass, but he didn't take it too seriously. I won't accompany women to the market anymore, there are too many things to do. This is the experience summarized by Bai Mang after this market. But the matter was not over yet, and Yao Yu surprisingly proposed to go to Bai Mang's house. Ah! What are you doing at my house? What's wrong? I haven't been to your house before. When I was a child, I used to live every day. We are all adults now, don't be like when we were young, okay? I'll go take a look at your doghouse. This won't work. His room can indeed be described as a doghouse, so naturally it cannot be seen by Yao Yu. And he also has to go digging saplings in the afternoon, so he doesn't want Yao Yu to get in the way by his side. Bai Mang firmly rejected the conspiracy of Yao Yu visiting his home. After the two broke up at the market entrance, Yao Yu went north and Bai Mang went south. Unfortunately, it's not the tree planting season now, and there are no fruit seedlings available for sale in the market. Otherwise, he might have bought a few and taken them to the Blue Mongxing for cultivation. After finishing lunch at home, Bai Mang came to the nearby Dongxioshan and dug more than 10 small trees. There are also 2 small wild fruit trees among them, one is a wild strawberry and the other is a wild blueberry. The rest are ordinary small numbers, including a small pine tree. The storage space can also hold so many things. Another midnight at midnight, Bai Mang appeared once again in the base of Lan Mang Star. After arriving here, his attention immediately focused on the weeds. He was very worried that these weeds would grow to heights as high as his, which would be too scary. It's okay. These weeds remained in the same condition as yesterday and did not grow unexpectedly, which made Bai Mang very worried. But his relieved heart hung up again when his gaze turned to the other side. He saw the 2 small trees he planted. The 2 small trees have grown into big trees, of course not too big, with a height of about 2 meters. But when he planted them yesterday, they were only 1 or 2 feet tall, and overnight, they grew to about 2 meters. What are they eating? What surprised him the most was the early cherry tree. It actually bloomed. A tree bloomed with white flowers like snow, drifting with a faint fragrance in the wind. Bai Mang circled around this early cherry tree, looking at the cherry tree taller than him and the fragrant flowers, and his heart was racing and roaring with 10,000 horses. After looking at the trees, Bai Mang went to see those 2 herbs. These 2 herbs have really matured this time, and some seeds have fallen to the ground. Bai Mang carefully picked up the seeds of these 2 plants, but they were too few. 2 seeds of white clover and 1 seed of golden lotus. Bai Mang collected these 3 seeds and 2 medicinal plants into the storage space. Now there are 2 herbs and I also have flying tiger claw. Let's go collect the 3rd herb first. Wait until all the herbs are collected before planting trees. Bai Mang turned around and ran eastward for 7 miles, then arrived at the foot of that small mountain. Still following the ridge line to reach the big rock like last time, and then taking out the rope and flying tiger claws. He wants to throw the flying tiger claw onto the protruding stone pillar above, wrap it around the pillar, and then pull the rope to climb up. Bai Mang began to round his arm and swung the flying tiger claw. When he felt it was almost done, he let go and the flying tiger claw flew towards the stone pillar. Unfortunately, it failed the first time. The second time also failed. Bai Mang threw it more than 10 times in a row and finally succeeded once. Sun Xiaoqiu jumped happily along. Bai Mang stretched the rope with great force, feeling it was secure. Then he wrapped the other end of the rope around his left leg and started climbing. Climbing 2 steps and circling around his legs for 6 or 7 minutes, he finally climbed up the stone pillar. It won't be too difficult to go further down here, although the slope is still a bit steep, he still safely reached the top of the mountain. The area of the small mountaintop is 180 square meters, and under a protruding large stone, Bai Mang saw a plant that looked like a willow. Although it looks like a willow, it is neither as long nor as thick as a willow, with only 2 branches and a small yellow flower blooming at the top of the branches. This is the Tengliu flower he wants. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Ability of King Dad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The Ability of King Dad. Bai Mang dug up the Tengliu flowers by roots and placed them in the storage space, then retraced down the mountain to return to the base area. It's time to start planting trees now. He took out the small saplings he had dug from the space and started planting them. Those 2 small fruit trees were not planted together with other trees, but were planted elsewhere by him. Having the skill of treating 1 as 10 is good. He dug out 10 pits with a pickaxe and put the saplings into the pits to cultivate soil. Then carry water and water it. In about half an hour, all these trees were planted and watered. Congratulations, Star Lord. You planted 10 small trees and earned 300 contribution points. The planet's cultivation system has been upgraded to level 2, and the contributing Star Lord has gained the ability of 2 jumps. Double jump. Bai Mang is completely dumbfounded. What the hell is this? What ability did this give him? The capability provided by the land reclamation system greatly exceeded Bai Mang's expectations. Even if he had to imagine it 100 times, he wouldn't have thought the system would give him a second jump. He certainly knows what ability double jump is, and many games have this setting. The key is, why did the planet clearing system give him this ability? What exactly can this ability do? If this ability were brought back to Earth, Bai Mang thought for a long time but didn't realize where this ability would come into play. Since you have it, you naturally need to understand it. His own jumping ability is not outstanding, with a vertical takeoff height of only 40 centimeters. Bai Mang began to take off, and as he reached a height of over a foot, 1 foot kicked down and his body made a snap as if stepping on a spring due to lack of preparation. He almost fell and chewed on the mud. He surprisingly jumped over 1 meter in the second jump. That is to say, he used to only have a jumping height of 40 centimeters, but now he can jump up to a height of 1.78 meters using a double jump. Wait! The stone pillar he grabbed with his flying tiger claws from the small mountain he just climbed is only about 3 meters away from him. If he had a double jump at that time, plus his own height of 1.8 meters, what more flying tiger claws are needed? Just grab a stone pillar and climb up on a dry land to pick out onions. I seem to have done another loss-making thing. Little ball. Your system is a bit tricky. What do you mean by giving me this ability? What is its purpose? It works a lot. For example, if there are fruits on the tree, you can jump up and pick the fruits in place. It's great. Picking the fruits and exercising your body. Damn it. I'm jumping and picking fruits under the tree. Are you sure others won't treat me like a monkey? When a monkey looks scared, you're not a real monkey. This conversation cannot continue. What is the next task and what is the contribution value to the next task? The next task is to build a house. The contribution value to the next task is 500. Before planting trees today, you were 120 contribution points away from the second level upgrade. Today, you planted trees and obtained 300 contribution points, used 120, and had 180 remaining contribution points. To upgrade to the third level, you still need 320 contribution points. 320 contribution points is not much, he just needs to plant 11 more trees here, but by the third level, this unreliable system will give him a chicken rib ability and he will be speechless. That would dampen his enthusiasm. The task of building a house may not be completed in a short time, as there is no building material available here except for stones. He has to transport the building materials needed to build a house from the earth. Just his 1 square meter storage space can hold 2 bags of cement, hoping it can transport the building materials over. What a joke. Also, buying building materials requires money. What about money? Finally, with building materials, who will build the house? Relying on himself. If he were to build a toilet, he might even collapse, and building a house would be a mirage, wouldn't it? The only possibility is to buy a ready-made color-board house and choose a place to place it directly here for a slight installation. But when buying a ready-made color-board house, don't dream about storage space that is not 20 or 30 meters in size, and don't even think about it if it doesn't cost tens of thousands of yuan. So, his current task is to work hard to upgrade, strive to expand storage space, and then find ways to make money. Little ball. Now we have all 3 herbs in hand. How to mix and brew these 3 herbs, and how much dosage to use, you need to decide. If you can't take them out, don't talk in the future. The prescription was given by Sun Xiaoqiu, and he can't even provide the dosage and usage method. What else is he saying? No matter how much you say, it's just nonsense. Just put the 3 herbs in a container to make soup, fill 3 bowls of water and boil them into a bowl of medicinal soup. What is the dosage? You can divide each of these 3 herbs into 20 portions, and use 1 portion to make soup. This is not difficult. How much do you need to drink to cure my grandfather's illness? I have to drink 3 times. Ah. 3 times will be enough. Make sure. Then believe in you this time. The next morning when Bai Mang returned home, he started using his gas tank to boil medicinal soup. Xiaomang. Didn't I cook for you this morning? Why are you still busy with work? Boil vegetable soup to drink. What kind of muscle are you pulling? I went out to play yesterday and picked 2 types of wild grass. I checked online and found that they can be eaten, which is good for my health. All day long, you have to go out and lock the door. I'll dig up the ground behind the house and plant autumn cucumbers. Mom. I'll flip through it in the afternoon, I'll finish it in a little while. My mother didn't pay attention to him, so it was just over a penny, and I finished flipping it in a while. It took Bai Mang half an hour to boil 3 bowls of water into a bowl of soup medicine, then put it into a mineral water bottle and hurriedly arrived at Grandpa's house in Baiyang village. Grandpa is going to the hospital for chemotherapy at 9 o'clock today. If he comes too late, Grandpa will leave. Grandpa is fine for the time being. Auntie and uncle have both returned to their own homes, and aunt has also gone down to work. Now, only Bai Mang's father Bai Wansheng and uncle Bai Tsangsheng are at home, but they are chatting and waiting for the car at the entrance of the yard. There is only Bai Mang and his grandfather in the room. Grandpa. You've loved me the most since I was young. Can you listen to me when your grandson talks to me? Of course, listen. I have a medicine here. If you drink it, you will be cured. Would you like to drink it? Do you know how to take medicine? When was that? I bought a folk prescription online and it was very useful. Many people who suffer from diseases like yours have already taken this medicine. If it works, I'll drink it. Bai Mang took out the half-mineral water bottle medicinal soup and helped Grandpa drink it. After drinking the medicine, quickly feed Grandpa water again. Grandpa. Don't tell my dad and uncle, they will definitely not let you drink if they know. Okay. Whatever my grandson says. End of this chapter.